there we are, first 1, 2 or 3 years. Teachers facing the complexity and the simultaneity of the classroom. A huge overload of work. I can still remember this time myself. I remember spending about 3 hours every evening trying to prepare just 20 minutes the next day. And loads of different students, and they've all got different reactions, and it's all happening at the same time. So survival is a good word, I think. But there's also this other word, discovery. And for some teachers, this is a wonderful phase because they have finally got their own pupils, their own students, their own classroom, and they feel like they're a peer amongst colleagues.
Welcome, Tessa. Welcome to the APPI conference.
Thank you very much.
You've been talking to us this morning about the life cycle of the teaching profession. Why did you choose to talk about that?
Well, I think for several reasons, really. If we understand what a lot of teachers are going through, or tend to go through at different lengths of experience, or different ages, or different stages of their career, if we have an understanding of that, I think it helps us in a number of ways. First of all, I think it helps the individual, because if you're feeling, for example, as a starter teacher, a young beginner teacher, if you're feeling incredibly stressed because of the workload and because of the reality shock of all the students reacting differently and all that, if you know that this is a sort of common theme that emerges for beginner teachers, you don't blame yourself and think that you're inadequate. You think, well, this is actually quite normal. I'm not the only one that feels this way. And similarly, if you have a mid-career crisis, or you start getting a bit routinized or a bit jaded, instead of blaming yourself or blaming your institution or blaming your boss or something, you can think, well, actually, this is pretty typical for somebody who's been in the profession for whatever, 15, 16 years.
You just talk about the stresses that can happen for starter teachers, for people early in their career, and the unknown and the experiment.
Well, of course, there are good things as well. I mean, as well as the survival side, there's the discovery side. I've got my own students, and I can, I've got my own room or whatever. That can be a delight.
Can we have a look at the other end of the of the scale? And
sure.
Teachers who've been teaching for sort of in excess of 25, 30 years, perhaps. What the different issues are that they would be facing.
Well, the veteran teachers, as they're now called, are the ones that have been teaching.
Not sure I like that name.
No, I don't like it either. It reminds me of when I went running once, and I was only just about 31, and as I came in, they gave me a bottle of sherry saying, "Congratulations, you're the first veteran to pass the line." I was only 30 at the time. Yes, veteran teachers, they're not a great title, but, well, lots of things, I think. There can be a sense of routine, which can be a light feeling, or it can be quite an existential crisis type feeling, where people think, I'm in this job, but I'm not quite sure how I got into it, and I'm not sure I want to stay in it. So there are times, I think, when people wonder whether they're in the right job. They get a bit burnt out, perhaps, and trying to find a satisfying or creative response to that feeling is tricky.
And presumably the knowledge that it's a recognised stage, again, like the early stages, later stages, is something which can possibly help people.
It might. There might be a sense of comfort in that. It's not that I personally am an inadequate human being. It's the fact that I've been doing a very physically demanding, socially demanding, difficult job for a long time without a great deal of support, and I need a bit of help, or whatever is the feeling.
Well, that's looking at, as we have been looking at the value of self-reflection in where you are, and realising that you're not alone. And presumably there's also value for colleagues to understand the stage that other colleagues are at.
Yes, I mean, I did this morning. I was saying that I think the three main benefits are for yourself, I'm not the only one going through this, for your colleagues, not sneering at or scorning or being dismissive of your colleagues in the staff room, thinking, or why did they behave that way, why did they say that, but actually understanding the reasons behind it. And then third, incredibly important too, is for management or teacher trainers or mentors to not get sort of sniffy about teachers who want, for example, practical tips a lot of the time, because this is a very satisfying way of helping them to change things which are under their control, rather than them hitting their heads against institutional constraints which they can't change. So, yes, so I think it's important for the individual teacher, it's important for us as a staff room or as a set of colleagues, and very important for trainers and managers to understand.
So would you like to see this kind of awareness training, I suppose we might call it, being available to more people?
Well, I think it's nice if people do some of the reading and thinking and finding out themselves.
Yes.
The main person I quoted this morning, Huberman, did say that we should take these phases or issues, we should handle them quite gingerly, he said, because it's not a kind of a set of events that happen in a certain order. It's not the way things should be. It's not normative. It's simply describing processes that quite a lot of teachers tend to come up with or go through. So, provided it doesn't become a sort of crystallised journey where, you know, if you're in year 12, you've got to be feeling, stabilised or whatever. As long as it doesn't get too rigid and is not taken as normative, then I think it could be very useful. Yes.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Oh gosh, welcome.